Hey guys, Hardcore Hector with hopefully a quick review of Yokai Watch. So I played this last month. I was actually working on it for IGN, so I wasn't able to get any strategy guides on this YouTube channel or my website. I kind of wanted to do a strategy guide on my website, but then my boss was like, hey, game's in the mail, can you work on it? And I was like, I guess, whatever. So I just kind of wanted to talk about it real quick because there's been a lot of, talks about it. It's been super popular in Japan. It finally came west. I think they already have 3 Yokai Watches in Japan, but it doesn't seem to be making too many waves in the west at this time. A lot of people said it's kind of like a new type of Pokemon. I guess you can kind of say that based on design and stuff like that. But based on gameplay, if any gamers out there are familiar with the Shin Megami Tensei games, it is more like that, way more than Pokemon. So basically, well, I should say it's kid-friendly Shin Megami Tensei, not like the adult version. So it is very, very kid-friendly. You play as this kid who's like in elementary school, I think. I think he's only like 10 years old. And so the story plays out, and it's pretty cool, it's super kid-friendly, and you go story chapter, story chapter. I think there's only like 10 story chapters or something like that. And the story chapters roll into each other pretty smoothly. Let me see. No, there's 11 story chapters. And so the main story quest, there's only 11, but there's a ton of extra side quests that you can do, which are mainly just like fetch quests or something. They're like, oh, this dude, something's wrong with him, can you figure it out? Until you go over there, and sometimes they're like, oh, you need this yokai to help this guy out, so can you do that? So the gameplay is kinda it's like whatevs. The yokai themselves, this is where it's mostly like Shin Megami Tensei. So you can't just go and find them and capture them like in Pokemon. And there's not even really random encounters. You either, when you're around town, you have to look around until your yokai watch starts going into this like high red gauge area. And then you might have to look under cars, look in trees or whatever, and then you have to use your yokai lens to find it and then just follow it around, and then you'll start a battle. Unless it's a certain other area where there's yokai everywhere, and then they'll just be moving out on the overworld, and then if you run into them or if they chase you, then you enter a battle like that. So there's, let me see, over 200 yokai, 233 yokai, but not all of them. You can't capture all of them. Some of them, I think there's 5 of them that are only available with toys or something like that. You have to use the QR codes on toys that are released at a later date. And there's another 12 or so that are just the bosses, so they're not really, you can't capture them at all. And well, you don't even capture them like Pokemon, you just befriend them. And to befriend them, you have to go into battle with them, and then you have to give them their favorite food. So you have to figure out what their favorite food is. I already figured it all out, wrote it down on the strategy guide. And even then, you're not guaranteed to befriend them. You have to give them their favorite food and then finish the battle by defeating them, and then hopefully one of them will come and say, hey, can we be friends? And then you can say yes, and then they're your friends, and then you get their medal. But you can only have 6 yokai medals in your team at a time. You have to go to like the yokai medallion, which is the whole list of all the yokai you've befriended, and then switch them out. And so the befriending part is really a pain in the ass. I don't really like it. And especially some of these yokai, they're super, super rare to find in the game. And then you finally find them and you do the favorite food, and then you might even have a yokai which boosts your popularity to hopefully gain their friendship even more, and then they still aren't your friend after the battle. And it's like, are you freaking serious, man? And you just have to keep trying again and again and again, and hopefully you can befriend them. And so some of them, a very small group, can evolve into a stronger form. And then there's other yokai that look just like the previous yokai. Like they might look exactly like them, except they have a different color scheme, or they have, like a horn or something, whatever. But they don't evolve into that form. And some of them you can fuse 2 yokai together, or a yokai and an item together to make a better yokai. But again, some of them might look like a stronger version, or they might be a stronger looking version, but they're not like that. They don't transform, they don't fuse, they don't evolve. It's just a totally different yokai. And it seems kind of lazy to have basically the same design when they're not related to those weaker yokai through evolution or through fusion or anything like that. And then also on the battling, you don't do anything really. Well, you don't have control of your yokai. They fight themselves, and you can say, hey, target this guy, and then maybe he'll use his attack, or maybe he'll use his Inspirit. The Inspirits are basically just status moves. Sometimes you like weaken them, like their attack, sometimes their defense, sometimes you might heal your teammates, and so the yokai just do their own thing, and sometimes you can say, hey, target this person, and maybe they'll attack them. And then you can spin around the 3 yokai, because only 3 yokai are in the battle at once. The other 3 are just on the back row. So you can spin around the yokai watch and then put another 3 into battle and put another 3 in the back row if you want. And so sometimes if your yokai gets inspirited, you have to send them to the back and then tap on them to purify them and get rid of that status ailment, basically. And then you can also target these wisps that fly in, and then it might give you a special item, or it might help you befriend yokai better, or something like that, or it might give you the Soultimate moves. And the Soultimate moves are basically like their special attacks for a yokai. So once their little Soultimate gauge fills up, you can click the Soultimate move on one of the 3 yokai that are in the top row, and then you might like have to pop a bunch of, well, popping the buttons is the purify thing, but you might have to trace something or spin the little thing around on the bottom 3DS screen. And you have to do whatever, and then it does the Soultimate move, just like you do whatever to purify a yokai when he's inspirited. So those are the only things you do: the Soultimate move, the purification, moving the yokai around, and then popping little wisps that fly in. Oh, and targeting enemy yokai. And you can also use items, you know, food to heal them, or food to give to the yokai to befriend them. So that's the only thing you do in battle. Everything else is just automatic. So I think it's a bit too kid-friendly for my tastes. And the actual befriending part of the yokai, it is just too annoying for me. I don't know, maybe some people will like it. That's pretty much one of the reasons I hate Shin Megami Tensei. Like, the offshoot of Shin Megami Tensei, which is the Persona series, the first 2, you had to befriend the personas like that, and I hated that. The next 2, they're a little bit easier to make friends, or whatever you want to call it, and so it was just an easier game to deal with. Oh yeah, and I probably should have mentioned this, but basically yokai are just like creatures that the people in the real world can't see. And according to the website, they say they're like the physical embodiment of everyday problems. Like, if you're feeling super lazy, it's because of a yokai, or if you're feeling super hungry, it's because of a yokai. Stuff like that. So that's pretty much all you need to know about Yokai Watch. You know, there are a few other things in there that if you want to play the game, you can find it out when you're playing. You don't really need it in a review or whatever. So, I don't know if I would really recommend this for, I guess I could recommend it for a kid just playing through the regular story, and I guess befriending the yokai gives you something to do. But I don't know if a kid would really want to go through all that hassle to befriend all those yokai, especially doing it in such a frustrating way. You know, the whole food thing and everything, you know, I don't know. For an adult, the adults might like the whole befriending the yokai thing, the whole difficulty in it, but the rest of the game, they would say it's too kid-friendly. The story, the battling, all that kind of stuff, it's just, So it's kind of hard to see who this game is for. Like, who's the audience? Is it for the kids or the adults or something? So it seems like a little bit of a mix, like they're trying to get both audiences. And so if you want to play it and you're a kid, you might struggle a bit with befriending. But then again, there's evolution and fusion, so you shouldn't have too much of a problem with that. You just probably won't capture or befriend them all. And if you're an adult and you really want to put in the time to befriend all those yokai, you would just say this game is too easy, you know? So that's pretty much all I got to say. Leave a comment telling me if you've already played the game, or if you want to play the game, or if my review changed your opinion on it. And give this video a thumbs up if you appreciated my review, and subscribe to my channel for more video game reviews, gameplay commentary, gaming vlogs, and strategy guides, because more is going to be coming in the future.